All right, also new here tonight on The Current. For over half a century, the Bishop Hill Heritage Association has been preserving history in its local community. A combination of historical buildings, museums, guided tours, and sometimes even special events. Two of those are happening this month. So to break it all down, we're joined by the Heritage Association's administrator, Todd DeDecker. Todd, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I want to start with this weekend because I think it's especially exciting for baseball fans.
Yes.
What is happening on Saturday?
Well, at 1 p.m. at the Steeple Building, we're going to have Tim Plektovich come in and speak about his scouting experiences. At age 14, he was setting scouting reports to the Philadelphia Phillies. And then at age 21 is when he was hired by the Chicago Cubs as a full-time paid scout. So he's going to come in and talk about his, give us the behind-the-scenes view of what scouting was like back in the 1970s and 1980s. And of course, I'm sure he has some really personal stories and some anecdotes that we don't normally hear about.
And I mean, I was looking through the website earlier. You guys obviously cover a lot of different history, but I don't know how unique sports is. I mean, how common is it for you guys to cover the history of someone in sports to that extent?
Well, in a lot of small towns around here have baseball history, and we actually have our own baseball history with Forrest Cady being a catcher for Babe Ruth when he was with the Boston Red Sox back in the 1900s. So we have baseball history dating back for a century, so it kind of connects to our local history.
And I mean, I know that Tim has done some of those talks before. Do you have any preview of maybe some of the things that he's going to cover in his history? His
other talks were based on his books. And this is the first time we have actually had him here to talk about his own personal experiences before he went back to school and became an educator. So I am looking forward to it as much as anyone else because I'm a big Cubs fan.
There you go. Perfect. Well, who would you say, that's James clapping in the background, by the way. Who would you say is the target audience for an event like this then? What do you kind of want people to learn from someone like Tim?
I think our target audience is anyone who is a baseball fan. I mean, not just a Cubs fan or a Phillies fan, because baseball has changed so much from now to back to 1970s,
Sure.
1980s. So this is a great way to take a look back and see how much baseball has changed over the decades.
All right, I want to switch topics a little bit because it's not the only thing that's happening in August that you guys are probably very excited about. I'm going to try to say this right. Chautauqua, is that
Correct.
what it's called? That's next Saturday?
Yep, the 22nd.
Now, I didn't know what that was, so for anyone that's unfamiliar, can you explain maybe a little bit?
A modern-day Chautauqua is when professional storytellers, historians, actors or actresses come in and do a first-person portrayal of a historical figure. They do an entire program acting like that person. They do the research about that person. You can even ask questions of them, and they'll answer in character.
And one of those educators is going to be John Adams, as we see there, right?
Yes.
The one thing I was curious about is, I mean, I've heard of people like this before, but how do you actually get in touch with them? Like, is it easy to find people who can impersonate?
Well, we were fortunate that Brian Fox Ellis, who is portraying John Adams, was a Bishop Hill resident. So he has his own connections, and he was able to recruit other people to come to our Chautauqua.
They can't break character, right? Is that kind of the rule?
That is the rule, at least until the end. So what they do is they dress up, and Fox will be the second president of the United States, John Adams, and he'll talk about his life. The audience gets to ask him questions as John Adams, but then we have a few minutes at the end where they can ask him questions as Brian Fox Ellis and ask him how he prepared for this character.
Sure, yeah, a little peek behind the curtain, right? Mm-hmm. I guess I'm curious just in terms of the crowd and maybe what people are especially interested in when they interact with these kids, because it is kind of tapping into history a little bit, right? What do you tend to see people especially being interested in there?
They're really interested not just in the story of the historical character, but how each of these people prepare, what their resources were, and there's also been a lot of questions about how they thought historical characters would react to current day's problems or issues.
Gotcha. And the other person I wanted to ask about is another character that we're going to see, and that's Deborah Sampson.
Yes.
I didn't know this history as well. Can you tell us a little bit about how historical of a figure that is?
Yes, Judith is going to portray Deborah Sampson, and she was a lady who dressed up as a man and fought in the Revolutionary War, and no one knew she was a woman until, eventually discovered about a year and a half into it.
Oh, wow.
So, and there have been other examples of women doing that throughout, but she was like one of the first ones in American history. So it's a very interesting program because you get to see the Revolutionary War from a woman's point of view, not just a guy's point of view.
Yeah, that's really something. I know we were talking about it before. I didn't know that history super well. For anyone that does want to know that history, and especially maybe wants to sign up for either one of those two events, both Saturdays, where do they go? Are there still available tickets? And
Well, it's all free.
Okay.
That's a great thing. We do take donations, but it's all free. But they want to find more details about it, they can go to visitbishophill.com or the Bishop Hill Heritage Association Facebook page.
Todd, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And if you want to share this story, you can find our online version up at WQAD.com under the As Seen on TV tab at the top of the homepage.